Madam Speaker, I move my apologies, I'm going to get lost a little bit here. I move second reading of Bill 50, an act to amend the Highway Traffic Act.
Mr. Harris has moved second reading of Bill 50, an act to amend the Highway Traffic Act. Pursuant to Standing Order 98, the member has 12 minutes for his presentation. Thank
you, Madam Speaker. It is with great pleasure that I rise in the House today to speak to my private member's bill, the Cutting Red Tape for Motor Vehicle Dealers Act, also known as Bill 50. I am proud of what this bill, if passed, will accomplish for Ontario's auto retailers and consumers. Bill 50 would amend the Highway Traffic Act to enable motor vehicle dealers to apply for permits, number plates, sticker validations, and used vehicle information packages by electronic means or in an electronic format. Whereas the current vehicle registration process requires that auto dealers physically transport their paperwork back and forth to and from a Service Ontario location following a purchase or resale. Bill 50 eliminates this requirement and streamlines the registration process. In the age of modernization, these measures might seem like a no-brainer, but in Ontario for a long time now, we have been lagging behind other provincial and state jurisdictions in the Great Lakes region, bogged down by excessive red tape, and that, Madam Speaker, is bad for business and consumers alike. It has come to the point now, Madam Speaker, if you can believe it, where we are essentially the only jurisdiction within the Great Lakes region that has not streamlined its car registration process. For example, Quebec implemented in-dealership vehicle registration in 2002, and New York State digitized their car registration as far back as the 1990s. In the Great Lakes region, other jurisdictions have modernized their vehicle registration process, including Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Pennsylvania. In the broader Canadian context, Newfoundland and Labrador, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island have also opened their doors to electronic registration. Why is this a growing trend, Madam Speaker? In the 21st century, electronic applications and registrations are a fact of life. Not only do they save paper, but also because they are quite simply much more efficient than traditional methods. Electronic registrations and applications succeed in helping businesses and consumers save what they value most, their hard-earned time and money. This revelation is no shock to Ontario's government services. Service Ontario already allows for driver's license and health card registrations to be renewed online. The common sense measures that this legislation proposes are exactly the kind of change that our province needs at this time of economic rebirth. Moving this province from being a have-not province, as it has consistently been under the previous government, to a have province starts with red tape reduction. Under the current regulations, some consumers end up waiting multiple days following the purchase of their new and used vehicle before they can actually take it home and get it on the road. Bill 50 will fix this. If enacted into law, this bill would enable consumers to purchase a vehicle and drive it off the lot not only within the day, Madam Speaker, but potentially within a span of a couple of hours of the time of purchase. In this alternative reality, Madam Speaker, car dealers would register newly purchased automobiles themselves directly with the Ministry of Transportation via an online process. Auto dealers would keep a stock of plates and sticker validations in their dealership so they can install them on the customer's automobile shortly after the time of purchase. This is an alternative reality to an over-restrictive registration process that currently plagues this province, but it is by no means a reality that is out of reach. Here's the bottom line, Madam Speaker. Moving the vehicle registration process online will make motor vehicle dealerships one-stop shops, saving dealers and consumers time and money. But don't take my word for it, Madam Speaker. Take the words of the countless stakeholders stepping forward, and we have some of them in the gallery here today in support of my bill. The Trillium Auto Dealers Association, better known as TADA, which is the largest new car dealer association in Canada, with a membership upwards of 1,000 auto dealers, steadfastly supports the aims of Bill 50. In her recent guest column in the Toronto Star, Susan Gubstra, the president of TADA, stated that, and I quote, if passed, Bill 50 will be a game changer for Ontario's auto retail sector. We live in a digital age, and it's time to harness technology to modernize the vehicle registration process. TADA is by no means the only association to come out in support of Bill 50. In the past couple of weeks, My office has received countless letters and statements of support on my bill from heavy hitters, such as the GM Dealers Association of Toronto, Kia Canada, the Performance Auto Group, and the Used Car Dealers Association of Canada, as well as car dealerships from across our beautiful province. Warren Bernard, the Executive Director of the Used Car Dealers Association of Canada, wrote to me that he says my PMB is a bill that will cut red tape for dealers and consumers and encourage efficiency and convenience. Chris Budd, President of the GMDA, wrote, and I quote, "Bill 50 is a vital tool that will go a long way to support Ontario's auto sector and provide consumers and auto dealers with time-saving options when purchasing a vehicle. This is a much-needed initiative that will cut red tape and reduce the cost of doing business." Madam Speaker, those statements of support are just a taste of the positive reception Bill 50 is receiving. The amount of time that I'm allotted today to speak here is less than would be required to read aloud the dozens of letters my office has received in support of Bill 50, or the hundreds of emails that have poured into the member's office email accounts this past week. And fellow members, I'm sorry for that. The positive impact that Bill 50 will have on our small businesses and consumers across Ontario cannot be overstated. It should come as no surprise, Madam Speaker, that the President and CEO of the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, Rocco Rossi, came out and formally endorsed Bill 50 earlier this week on behalf of his organization's 60,000 members, stating, "Cutting red tape for car dealerships across the province is essential to increasing productivity and streamlining outdated and unnecessary requirements, leaving car dealerships behind and huge unnecessary delays for the consumer. Car dealerships lose productivity every time they are required to have their paperwork processed for vehicles sold or leased. It is time we implement Bill 50 and bring car dealership practices into the 21st century." There are over 1,000 new car dealerships across Ontario that will benefit from Bill 50's provisions. In Waterloo Region, there are 30 new car dealerships who would see their services improved as a result of Bill 50. The general manager of Voisin Chrysler, a dealership in my riding of Kitchener-Conestoga, explained to me how Bill 50 will help his business, and here is what he said. "If my business had the ability to register and license the vehicles I sell, I can go the extra mile to make sure car buyers would not experience delays to take delivery of their newly purchased vehicle. I wouldn't have one eye on the clock to make sure I can get to Service Ontario before they close for the day." Madam Speaker, under current government regulations, dealerships do not, in effect, have full control over their own operating hours. The member for Algoma-Manitoulin alluded to this point in second reading of debate on Bill 152, which is Bill 50's predecessor back in 2015. In reflecting on the negative impacts of the current system, the member opposite stated, and I quote, "I've heard from dealerships in my area as well that they are challenged. They cannot close a sale on a Friday afternoon. Oh, why? Well, Service Ontario has cut their hours and they are closed at 2. And in order for me to close a deal at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I have to wait until Monday, Madam Speaker." Frank Notte, the Director of Government Relations for Tata, summarized clearly and concisely just how Bill 50 will fix the problem described by the member opposite in a letter to my office, stating, "For dealers in areas of the province where a license office is far away, this bill will have an even greater impact. Dealership employees will not have to waste time traveling far distances numerous times a day to provide this service." Bill 50 did not come out of thin air, Madam Speaker. There is a strong history behind this bill. Bill 50 is a resurrection of the current Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing's PMB, Bill 152. From the first session of the 41st Parliament, Bill 152 passed second reading but was reintroduced again as Bill 3 after the House was prorogued in 2016. Bill 3 then became Bill 2 after the House was prorogued in 2018. And Bill 2 was not able to progress before the general election ensued. Reflecting on debates on the previous versions of this bill provides us with a clear sense of what supportive evidence exists for this legislation and what the appetite is for this type of revision that the bill is proposing. For example, if a member of the legislature were to go back and read Hansard records on the debate of Bill 152, they would find statements in support of this bill coming from all sides of the House. Percy knows I'm about to get into, the member from Windsor-Tecumseh knows I'm about to quote him. They would find that the current opposition, official opposition member from Windsor-Tecumseh, stating, and I quote, "If we can make it easier for anyone in the automotive industry, make it easier for them to sell the cars we build, then we want to stand up for that and make it happen." And if they look back at the voting record for Bill 152 second reading, they would see unanimous support across all sides of the House. Why was there unanimous support? Well, some of the main reasons have already been addressed, as in this legislation is strongly supported by stakeholders, digitization of government services is already underway, and in the age of modernization, Ontario is lagging behind and our economy is suffering because of this. Madam Speaker, in 2011, the Government of Ontario conducted a modernization of vehicle registration pilot project at 2 new car dealerships, one in Belleville and one in Peterborough. These pilots tested the same provisions being proposed in Bill 50. It should also be noted then, Madam Speaker, that this pilot project was regarded as a great success. So here's the hardest part about looking back at the debate and the history of Bill 50's predecessor. The previous government knew that Bill 50's measures of modernization and reducing red tape are desperately needed by Ontario's auto sector, and still, they failed to make modernization a real priority. Well, the times have changed, Madam Speaker. There is now a government that has the will to act and to do the right thing for businesses and consumers in this province. Our government, for the people, does not sit on its hands. Our government delivers results. We campaigned on a commitment to remove job-killing red tape. We campaigned on a promise to make Ontario open for business. We campaigned on a commitment to create and protect jobs in this province, to turn this province from being a have-not province into being the economic engine of Canada once again. And dare I say, Madam Speaker, with the introduction and, knock on wood, the passing of Bill 50, you have yet another promise made, promise kept. Thank you.